We were four friends, heading from Delhi towards the pink city of Jaipur. The journey was long, but the excitement kept us awake. The road stretched endlessly before us, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the vast landscape. We sang along to our favorite songs, shared stories and laughed, the miles melting away under the wheels of our car. Bhangarh. We'd heard the whispers, the tales of it being India's most haunted place. The stories were chilling, yet irresistible. Legends spoke of curses and restless spirits, of a place where the boundary between the living and the dead was thin. Curiosity, that reckless beast, gnawed at us. We couldn't resist the pull of the unknown. Each tale we heard only fueled our desire to see it for ourselves, to experience the thrill of the supernatural. As the sun began its fiery descent, painting the sky in unsettling shades of orange and bruised purple, the atmosphere grew tense. The shadows lengthened, and a sense of foreboding settled over us, making the air feel heavy. Our taxi pulled up to the fort gates, and an eerie silence greeted us. The once lively chatter in the car faded, replaced by a hushed anticipation. We had arrived at Bhangarh. The driver, he looked like he couldn't get away fast enough, muttered something about nightfall and hurried back down that dusty road. Locals, they say, no one with any sense lingers here after dark. Foolishly brave, or perhaps just plain foolish, we stepped through that ancient archway. Our hearts pounded, the driver's warning echoing in our minds. The silence, it wasn't the peaceful kind. It was a silence that seemed to press down on us, heavy and foreboding. It was thick, expectant, like the very air was holding its breath, waiting for something to break the stillness. Around us, the ruins of old buildings stood silhouetted against the fading light, their broken windows like vacant, watchful eyes, staring out into the encroaching darkness. A chill wind snaked through the stones, and it carried the faintest sound, a sad, drawn-out sigh, as if the ruins themselves were mourning. The surroundings were cloaked in an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves, adding to the sense of unease. It felt as if the fort itself was watching, waiting for something to happen, its ancient stones whispering secrets of the past. We started to walk deeper into the fort, and that's when it began. I kept getting this feeling, like someone was right behind me, breathing down my neck. I'd whirl around, heart pounding in my chest, but there was never anyone there, just the silent stones and the growing shadows. The air grew noticeably colder as we approached the old palace, perched high on the rocks. The structure loomed ominously, its ancient walls whispering secrets of the past. Inside, it was absolute darkness. The silence was deafening. Our phone flashlights were weak little beams barely piercing the gloom. We moved cautiously, every step echoing through the empty halls, sound of a low muffled sob seemingly coming from a distance. We froze, hearts pounding, as the eerie sound filled the air. Then, we all heard it. A woman crying, softly, desperately, somewhere close by. It sent chills down our spines.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Go away. Sound of a sharp intake of breath.
The whisper grew louder, echoing through the ruins, making our hearts race. The whisper, it felt like it was right in my ear, as if someone was standing just behind me, breathing down my neck. I spun around, my blood running cold, empty, utterly empty. The ruins seemed to mock my fear, their silence deafening. Sound of a small stone whizzing past, followed by another. A small stone whizzed past my ear, followed by another, breaking the stillness. And then the stones started flying. They came from all directions, as if the darkness itself was attacking. Small ones, but they hit with a sharp crack against the stone walls. Each impact echoed through the ruins, amplifying my terror. My friends had moved a little further ahead, their flashlight beams bobbing in the distance, unaware of the chaos unfolding behind them. I was alone in that moment, surrounded by the silent, menacing ruins. The weight of the ancient stones pressed down on me. Panic clawed at my throat. My heart pounded as the stones kept coming faster and faster, each one a reminder of my vulnerability. My friends screamed, their flashlights shaking wildly as they ran back towards me, their faces masks of terror. We huddled together, our breaths ragged, eyes wide with terror. The ruins seemed to close in around us, as if they were alive. I just ran, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers seemed to follow me, swirling around me. and I could feel this intense burning sensation on my back, like unseen eyes were boring into me. I finally reached my friends, their faces pale in the dim light, their eyes wide with terror.
We need to leave. Now. All of us. We all felt something. Did you hear that? We can't stay here any longer. Let's go quickly.
We didn't stop running until we were back at the gates, the moon a cold, silent witness in the inky sky. The taxi. It still wasn't there. We huddled together, shivering in the growing cold, staring back at the fort. It loomed on the hill, a dark, silent monster. Our minds raced with the night's terrors, each of us lost in our own thoughts. We had our answer. Bhangarh wasn't just a collection of old stones, it was awake, and it definitely didn't welcome visitors after dark. I finally understood the fear in that taxi driver's eyes. Some places are better.
Sound of wind howling through ancient stone, interspersed with the distant caw of a crow. A lone narrator's voice, low and chilling, cuts through the silence. The dust of centuries clings to Bhangarh, a silent testament to a kingdom lost, a love scorned, and a curse that whispers on the wind. Here, in the skeletal remains of a once proud fort, the veil between worlds thins, and the echoes of tragedy refuse to fade. Sound of faint, melancholic music, like a distant sitar, briefly heard and then fades. 16 centuries ago, Raja Bhagwant Das raised these formidable walls, a haven for his kin. But destiny, it seems, had a darker script penned for Bhangarh. It began with a sage, Guru Balunath, his spirit woven into the very fabric of this land. He conceded the fort's rise, but with a decree its shadow must never trespass upon his sacred dwelling. A fragile pact, soon broken by the arrogance of men. Sound of a heavy stone grinding, followed by a low, guttural whisper. Then came Ratnavati, a name that bloomed like the desert rose, her beauty a legend in itself. Princes and kings clamoured for her gaze, but a shadow lurked in the periphery. Singya, a sorcerer, his heart twisted by a dark obsession. He craved not her hand in marriage, but dominion over her very soul. Sound of a glass vial clinking, a faint, sickly sweet aroma implied. He brewed a potion, a venomous concoction masked as perfume, intending to ensnare her with dark magic. But Ratnavati, blessed with an intuition sharper than any blade, saw through his vile deceit. With a flick of her wrist, the enchanted fragrance met its end against a cold, unyielding stone. Sound of a heavy thud, followed by a sharp intake of breath. Crushed, his dark heart overflowing with malice, Singya unleashed a curse, a venomous wave of black magic that washed over Bhangarh. Death, he shrieked in his final moments, and eternal unrest. Sound of a woman's faint, terrified scream, abruptly cut off. The prophecy unfolded with brutal swiftness. A battle, sudden and savage, engulfed Bhangarh. Princess Ratnavati, the radiant heart of the kingdom, was extinguished, and the walls that were meant to protect became her eternal prison and that of her people. Sound of clanging metal, the clash of swords, fading into an eerie silence. Today, the stones of Bhangarh weep the stories of its past. Locals whisper of unseen presences, of the rustling of unseen silks, the haunting melody of phantom bangles, and the chilling echo of a princess's last breath. They say the spirits are trapped, forever bound to the ruins by the sorcerer's curse, their souls denied the sweet release of peace. Sound of wind intensifying, carrying faint, indistinguishable whispers. Dare to step within these crumbling walls after dusk, and you might just feel the cold touch of a spectral hand, hear the sorrowful sighs carried on the wind, or glimpse a fleeting shadow in the moonlight. For Bhangarh is not just a ruin, it is a living testament to a love thwarted, a curse fulfilled, and the eternal torment of souls caught between worlds. Enter if you dare, but be warned. Some stories never truly end. They